Have you ever noticed how something as simple as the color green can make you feel calm? Maybe you've looked out the window, seen the trees moving in the wind, and felt your breath slow down. There's something about green, especially deep green, that feels alive. Now imagine that same green, but on your plate. Spinach, Chinese kale, mustard greens. Those deep, dark leaves might be doing more for you than you think. I'm a Chinese Buddhist monk who has spent many years studying balance, health, and the art of living long with peace and clarity. And I want to tell you something. The deep green color of these vegetables is more than just a sign of freshness. It's a message from nature, a signal that says, this plant knows how to live. Let's start with a little data, because numbers sometimes help us see what eyes alone can't. Studies show that dark, leafy greens like spinach and kale contain some of the highest levels of chlorophyll found in any food. Chlorophyll, that beautiful pigment that gives leaves their color, is like liquid sunlight. It captures energy from the sun and turns it into life. And when we eat it, that life continues inside us. If chlorophyll can transform sunlight into energy for plants, what might it transform inside of us? What helps the earth stay alive also helps us stay alive. In traditional Chinese medicine, the color green connects to the liver, one of the body's most important organs. The liver is like a quiet worker who never stops. It cleans the blood, stores nutrients, and manages energy. But it's also deeply tied to our emotions, especially anger, frustration, and the ability to let go. When your liver is healthy, your emotions flow like a gentle river. When your liver is stressed, those emotions can get stuck, like branches clogging a stream. Modern science says something similar. Chlorophyll helps clean the blood, supports liver function, and protects the body from toxins. Isn't it beautiful when ancient understanding and modern research meet in harmony? If the liver is the organ of emotional flow, and dark leafy greens help cleanse it, then eating greens isn't just good for your body, it helps your emotions move again too. Imagine your bloodstream like a quiet river that runs through your body. Every drop of blood carries memories of what you've eaten, how you felt, and what you've breathed in. Chlorophyll acts like a natural filter for that river. It doesn't just clean, it refreshes. It makes the water sparkle again. There's a saying in Chinese medicine, the liver loves the color green. That's not just poetry. It's physiology wrapped in philosophy. When we eat something green, especially something dark green, we are sending care to the organ that holds our hidden tempests and our quiet strengths. You might ask, but I already eat my greens. What's so special about spinach or kale? The answer lies in the depth of the green. The darker the leaf, the more chlorophyll it holds. It's like the difference between a cup of tea steeped for 1 minute and one steeped for 10. The deeper the color, the stronger the essence. These greens also carry antioxidants, tiny molecular guardians that fight what we call free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that build up in our bodies through stress, pollution, and aging. Over time, they damage cells, making us feel tired, older, and less vibrant. Antioxidants neutralize them, like peacekeepers calming a restless crowd. Every time you eat a handful of spinach, you're not just feeding your body, you're giving your cells a moment of peace. You're saying, rest now, heal. The food you eat can carry an emotion. Greens carry the emotion of renewal. They whisper, let go of yesterday, start again. People often chase complicated health trends, high-protein diets, juice cleanses, endless supplements. But balance doesn't come from extremes. It comes from rhythm, from small, steady choices made with care. When you bring deep green vegetables into your meals, even a small portion each day, you help your body remember how to stay in rhythm. You're telling your liver, you can rest. I'll give you what you need to do your work. Let's look deeper into the nature of chlorophyll itself. Under the microscope, chlorophyll looks surprisingly similar to hemoglobin, the molecule that carries oxygen in our blood. The only difference is that where hemoglobin has iron at its center, chlorophyll has magnesium. It's like nature made two cousins, one for plants, one for people, both designed to carry life. When you eat chlorophyll, it's almost like your blood recognizes it. It says, "Ah, this is family." That's why some healers call chlorophyll green blood. Magnesium, that central atom in chlorophyll, helps calm the nervous system. It helps muscles relax, the heart beat evenly, and the mind feel at ease. So eating greens can literally bring peace to your body. A leaf growing under sunlight, waving in the breeze, later becomes a quiet medicine for your heart and mind. If a leaf can turn sunlight into energy, and you can turn that same leaf into health, then every meal becomes a small miracle of transformation. You and the plant share the same story, both reaching for light, both seeking balance.
Many elders say, "I've eaten the same food for 60 years. Why change now?" But adding greens isn't a change. It's a return. In old times, our ancestors ate what was close to the earth, simple, seasonal, full of color. They didn't talk about antioxidants or chlorophyll, but they lived by the rhythm of nature. They trusted that green meant life. Sometimes in the modern world, we forget that food isn't just fuel, it's communication. The body listens to what we feed it. When we eat greens, we're speaking the language of healing. We're saying, stay alive, stay soft, stay clear. There's also a subtle emotional wisdom in this practice. In Chinese thought, when the liver is nourished, emotions become flexible again. You can get angry, but not stuck in anger. You can feel sadness, but still breathe through it. Just like spring wind bending the grass, it moves, but doesn't break. So in a way, these dark leafy greens are food for both body and spirit. They clean, but they also soften. They remind us that growth is not always loud. Sometimes it's silent and green. I've met many people who thought they had to take big steps to feel better. Expensive supplements, complicated herbs, strict diets. But nature hides her best medicine in the simplest forms. A bowl of stir-fried kale, a handful of steamed spinach, a soup with mustard greens. These things are enough. When I lived in the monastery, we grew vegetables behind the main hall. Every morning, the air smelled of wet soil and dew. The monks moved slowly, picking leaves one by one, thanking the plants as they worked. It wasn't just gardening, it was meditation. Each leaf represented patience and renewal, and every meal tasted alive because it carried gratitude. When I see people rush through meals, eating while scrolling on their phones or driving, I think of those mornings in the garden. Eating should be an act of attention. When you pay attention, even a single green leaf becomes a teacher. Sometimes the lesson is simple. Slow down. Let the bitterness of the greens remind you that cleansing can have an edge. Healing isn't always sweet. Sometimes it begins with something that tastes a little sharp, like the truth. There's also something humbling about realizing how a single plant, grown in sunlight and rain, can purify the blood inside a human body. The same sun that feeds the leaf feeds your cells. The same air that moves through its veins moves through yours. You're not separate from nature. You're a continuation of it. So when you sit down to eat spinach or kale or mustard greens, take a quiet moment. Feel the life in it before you take the first bite. That simple awareness changes how your body receives it. Gratitude opens the gates of digestion and turns food into energy more smoothly. Science might call it relaxation response. Monks call it mindfulness. Let that deep green color remind you of something ancient. That peace and health don't come from struggle, but from alignment. The leaf doesn't fight the sun. It just opens to it. The liver doesn't fight the blood. It just cleans it. The mind doesn't need to fight emotions. It just needs to let them move through. And all that wisdom, begins with something as ordinary as a plate of greens. When we bring deep green foods into our daily lives, we're not just eating to survive. We're choosing to live with awareness. These leaves, humble as they seem, hold both the wisdom of the earth and the science of healing. They clean our blood, support our liver, and calm the storms within our hearts. In Chinese thought, health is not only the absence of illness, but the presence of flow, the smooth movement of energy, emotion, and thought. And that flow begins with what we put into our bodies. So start small. Add a handful of greens to your breakfast, your soup, or your dinner. Notice how your body feels after a week, after a month. You don't need fancy supplements or complicated herbs, just the courage to return to what nature has always offered. And while you eat, take a slow breath. Feel the life that came from the soil, the rain, the sun. That same life now becomes part of you. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who might need a gentle reminder to slow down and take care. Maybe a friend, a neighbor, or someone who has forgotten what green really means. Every small act of nourishment ripples outward. Healing is not only personal, it's communal. So next time you see that dark green leaf on your plate, remember, it isn't just food. It's peace in edible form. Eat slowly, live clearly, stay balanced.